Hi, I'm Ashley, and this is the corner of the internet where I talk about my knitting and spinning. To start off, I'd like to talk about the things that I have recently finished. I was able to finish my Bluebird sweater by Ronya Racoletto. Gosh, this motif is so beautiful. I used a DK weight yarn from Tuku Wool. The base or main color is a navy blue, and the contrast color is a yellow golden color. It's absolutely stunning. This was an awesome pattern to work up. I ended up knitting this a little smaller than I think what the pattern asked for. I don't remember if that's because I went down a needle size or if I went down a garment size, but I really do like how it fits. It is super beautiful. It's not cropped. It definitely is regular length. It hits about where my hips start. The only thing is that I think I bound the collar too tight. So this ribbed collar does kind of cinch up around my neck. I tried to block it out aggressively to see if it would fix and kind of relax around my collar, but doesn't seem like that worked. So since it is approaching summer, I'm gonna wait until the weather gets a little cooler. Once I start wearing this, I'll decide whether I want to rip out the collar and fix that and see if I can make it fit a little bit better, or if I'm okay with how it is. Highly recommend the pattern. I really like Ronya's writing style. It's always very clear, and she has really beautiful color work patterns. Next is my Boulevard des Fleurs, which is a pattern by Knitting for Breakfast. The way I am obsessed with this pattern. This is made with my hand spun yarn, and it came out so beautifully. This is a mix of Gotland sheep with alpaca along with some silk, and I think with how this yarn drapes, it was like the perfect yarn for this project. And B, the project was really well written. It has this beautiful lace and cable work yoke. It comes up very subtle because of how dark the yarn is, but I cannot be more happy with how this garment turned out. I love how it sits. I made it quite cropped, which I really like, and I made the sleeves go only to my elbows. Super beautiful garment. I loved it so much that I actually wrote down the formula that I used in that pattern, and I kind of took some notes on the stitch count, how many increases there are, how I decreased, any changes that I made to the pattern. And I think that's gonna be like my sweater formula, like my perfect sweater formula. So I might make some more sweaters out of this pattern or tees, and just, omit the lace pattern on it, or the lace motif, and see if maybe I can have a few more garments that has this same exact fit, because I love it. I was able to finish spinning the fleece that I got from Chiquita Farms, which is an Etsy shop. This is a 100% Targi sheep wool, and as you guys know, I ended up spinning, I believe it was this one. I spun this one first. The pattern that I was thinking about using it for, because I want to make this the contrast color or the color work portion of the sweater that I'm choosing for it, but it needed a little bit more yardage, and so I went ahead and got another 4-ounce braid in order to do a second skein of yarn. This one I was able to get 310 yards, while the latest one that I was able to spin up is 220 yards, and both of these are about a sport to DK weight. And oh, so pretty. I just love the colors, and I think knitting these up is just going to come out so beautifully. And I'm really happy with how consistent both skeins are. I spun this one pretty early in my spinning journey, while this one I could tell that I've gotten better when it comes to spinning and not making it so tight. This one's a tiny bit more ropey. This one's a little bit more lofty. And it was interesting because I was just watching a video by Jillian Eve. I highly recommend her channel. She's very well versed and educated. I feel like she's literally a historian when it comes to spinning fiber and how people used to spin fiber, how they created fabric from spinning fiber. She's really cool to watch, and she does a lot of fun things when it comes to spinning or creating crafts on her channel, so highly recommend. But I just found out that the natural way that I spin is called point of contact. So when I started spinning, what naturally felt right for me was this method of drafting. There are several different methods of drafting, and you can draft in different ways in order to get a different type of yarn, or some wool requires different types of drafting in order to work with it best. For me, I naturally do point of contact, and so what that is I will draft from the wool that I have. When I draft, I let the spun singles do the work for me. So I am not drafting. It's kind of like a long draw. A long draw is where you draft, you hold the spun yarn, you hold the spun single, and you pull from the feeding fiber, and then you kind of fix it from there and feed it into the spinning wheel, and that creates a very lofty yarn because you're trapping a lot of air. There's also forward pull drafting, where you pull, you draft forward and then you flatten whatever air is in that single as you pull back, and you draw it that way. The way I do it is that I will draft, and what's spinning between my finger and the feeding fiber, I let what is spinning pull whatever fiber from the feeding fiber. Hope that makes sense, but as I video myself spinning, I think you'll see what I mean by my spinning technique. And it was really cool to learn that that's what it's called, because I knew that it was somewhat of a woolen spin because it is quite lofty, but at the same time it's not as lofty as if you were to long draw. I try to practice long draw, but long draw is kind of magic to me. It's bizarre how you can like hold the spun structure and you take the fiber and you just, some people, they just draw it back and it just connects somehow. It's wild to me. When it comes to my whips or my works in progress, I am working on my Sabai top by Paula Strict. This is the back panel so far, and here is the front panel. I am knitting this with 100% silk by Pearl Soho. I think the base is called cattail silk. So it's 100% silk. Beautiful yarn. There's this type of like little neps within it. So it gives a bit of a heathered look, and this is in the color Thousand-Year-Old Tree, something like that, but it's this beautiful sagey green. Very different from what I usually knit, but I am so enjoying this project. This pattern is very clever when it comes to how it's built. There is a built-in I-cord around the edging of the armhole so that you don't have to pick up after. I really like the boat neck design for the collar, and yeah, I've just been knitting this up. I am holding the yarn or the silk, I'm holding it double because this is a fingering weight yarn, and so holding it double, I am getting a DK weight. And yeah, eventually I should be able to join in the round, and it should be done pretty quickly because it's going by quite fast. When it comes to my spinning, I had gotten a couple of bats from Dancing Woods Alpaca Fibers, which is an Etsy shop. This is called Golden Dreams, so it is a dark alpaca with, I'm guessing they dyed it with some kind of golden dye, and it's just so beautiful. This is a blend of alpaca, merino, and silk. It is so incredibly soft. This is the first time that I am spinning from a bat, so there are different types of fiber or ways that people sell fibers. A bat is pretty much, they comb the fibers out all in the same direction in a flat type of a cake, and they fold it in on itself, and this is what a bat is. This targi wool was in a combed roving, which is pretty much like a braided, like a tube of long fiber that you can spin from. And there's all kinds of different ways that you can kind of buy fiber. Sometimes it's combed in the right direction. Sometimes you can get a fleece, which is like really unprocessed. It's pretty much they shear the sheep, and you can buy it either clean or not, in which sometimes you have to scour and clean the fleece and get all of the debris and grossness that's on the sheep. I'll let your imagination run with that. Or sometimes they will sell it to you already clean, and all you have to do is hand card it, which is pretty much combing the fleece so that it is faced in the same, so that the fleece is faced the same direction, so that it's easier to spin, because it's very difficult to spin from a raw fleece because it's just a neppy, tangled mess. But from this bat, I bought 2 bats. So that one is about 2 ounces, and then I got 2 others which were about 1.5 to 1.7 ounces. And so I spun those 2 together. So this is about 3 ounces of this single ply yarn, and it came out so beautiful. I just finished this, so I'm gonna spin up this 2 ounce, and then I will ply it together to make my yarn. Finally, I have something very special to share with you guys. I was able to acquire some fiber from Oner Okier, which is a Swedish company. They create very special unspun yarn as well as roving to spin from. This they're very limited on what they have. It's small, family owned, and when they do dye their fleece or their unspun yarn, they do it in a pretty traditional way. It's like in a huge vat outside. They do manufacture their wool on a pretty antique mill. Like the milling equipment is very old and antique, and it's very fascinating. And what they produce is very limited. So when it comes to the unspun yarn, which I've knitted from before, it's called Newton. It's very hard to get your hands on. It sells out really quickly, and each color is very special. So once they come out with a specific color, that color will not be brought back again, probably because of the process of the dye. Each time they do dye their products, it just doesn't come out the same. And so each time that they come out with a new type of unspun yarn or roving, it's very unique and very special, and it's a one-time opportunity. So oftentimes people will subscribe to I think they have a Patreon, and that kind of gives them first dibs on the products that they come out with. They also come out with new colors and products quarterly, and so yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's quite a cult following of this brand, and I was able to acquire some roving fiber. Is this not the most beautiful color? Oh my gosh. So this is in Swedish. I believe it's saying Ingvor, Ingvor. And it is this stunning yellowy green. It's almost like moss or lichen. It's got a very grungy look to it, and I am so honored to have this in my home. I feel the same way with their unspun yarn, their Newton. It's just very special. There's it was interesting because one of the people that I follow, she's one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is Daki. Her channel is called Wool in the Forest. I love her content. She's amazing. She's an incredible indigo dyer, and she also does a specific type of Indian embroidery when it comes to her specific artwork. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but it's very beautiful. I highly recommend you look at her Instagram. Her pieces are literally a work of art, and she dyes with indigo, and she also is a big fan of wool, so she oftentimes talks about the wool that she's spinning on or the yarn that she's using to knit certain things. But she was talking about experiencing oner yarn and roving and how it's alive with color, and I agree. There's just so much dimension to it. I'm definitely not trying to influence you to buy from Oner Achier, but there is a clear reason why they are so popular, and there is a type of uniqueness to their products that is quite special. So I am so honored to have been able to get my hands on some of their roving, and I literally can't wait to spin with this. I got quite a bit of it too. Something else about Oner Achier is that I feel like their products are criminally affordable when it comes to where it's coming from, how it's processed, how it's you know, brought to, you know, commerce. It's quite affordable for what it is, in my opinion. I was able to get quite a bit of this roving for less than a garment's worth of some of the yarn that I get. It's just, yeah, I'm grateful for this company, and I'm grateful that I was able to get some roving to finally spin with. Yeah, this is just such a special purchase of mine, and I wanted to share with you guys. So that's what I have for you guys in this week's video. I was able to hit up a couple of coffee shops. One of them was actually in a town about an hour and a half away called Boulder, which was super beautiful. It was a coffee shop that we went to after me and Ankel went on this amazing hike. Here is my Sabai top that I am knitting with the cattail silk from Pearl Soho. This is what I have so far, the front panel and the back panel. You know, I did knit it to the length requested, but I'm noticing that it's still going to be quite tight around my armpits. So I am actually going to knit it longer. I am still on the back panel, so I'm going to knit the back panel longer, and then I'm actually going to rejoin for the front and knit a few centimeters more to bring the armholes together, and it won't be so tight against my armpits, and it'll just be a better fit. So still working back and forth on this. It's kind of driving me nuts, but you know, I've just been doing a couple of few rows every day, and I should be able to join in the round and knit in the round until it's done, which will be a lot easier. I was able to cast on for the Masurina Tea by Caitlin Hunter. I am knitting this with Camellia Fiber Co.'s Fingering Flax, which is a linen, alpaca, and silk blend yarn. I am knitting it in the main color as Carnation, and the contrast color is Amber Honey. I have just finished the lace work that's at the collar part of the yoke, and I have literally just started the color work for the rest of the yoke. So I don't have too much so far, but this yarn is knitting up so beautifully. The lace pattern is super gorgeous, and I'll just keep on knitting it, and I will update you guys as I go. And as you saw, I literally could not wait to start spinning my Oner Akir fiber. So I was able to spin up about half of one of the bats of this fiber, and this is it so far. It is so beautiful. I am going to 3-ply this yarn. I've never done a 3-ply before. I've only done 2-ply, so that means that I would spin, you know, a certain amount of single, spin another of the same weight of singles and ply them together so that it would be a double ply so it's 2 singles plied together. I am going to try chain plying this single that I spun up in order to make this yarn a 3-ply. And so I'm going to pretty much be chain plying it, where I'll show you guys when I start plying it, because I am going to start plying this tomorrow, since I was getting real tight on fitting more of the fiber on this bobbin. I decided to do a 3-ply just because I've never done a 3-ply before. I also have so much of this fiber that I don't mind the thought of 3-plying, because since I am going to be 3-plying, that pretty much makes it so that my yardage is shortened, because I am creating a yarn with 3 strands instead of 2, which shortens the yardage that you're able to get out of a certain amount of roving. So thank you so much for joining me on this week's video. I hope you enjoyed the footage of the hike. So yeah, I hope you guys are having a good week. Make sure to get some crafting in, and I'll see you on the next one.